SourceFedNerd Anime Club, it's me, Jenny, aka ClassyLibrarian, and this week's anime was Magi, or Magi. And I got slightly confused when I started this series because there are two seasons to this series. One of them is Labyrinth of Magic and one of them is Kingdom of Magic. And I started watching Kingdom of Magic and thought, wow, this anime is amazing because it jumps you into this multicultural, multi-character, magical craziness without any exposition and expects you to follow it. And I thought, wow, this is really, you know, testing my principles. I've got to learn all these characters, learn the backstory, learn about this very complicated magical system, how it's based into the original Aladdin sort of mythology. And it was about 4 or 5 episodes into this that I thought, no, they really aren't giving me enough exposition for this to be effective. And then I looked it all up and I worked out that I'd been watching the wrong season. That being said, I then continued to watch the second season, and then once I'd finished watching the second season up to the point that they've aired, I went back and watched the first season. And I really enjoyed this anime. I'm looking forward to finishing it as it comes out. I do like the vast majority of the characters. I think my main dislike in terms of character choices is Aladdin himself, who is adorable and sweet and really lovely and super perverted. And they never really explain why a prepubescent boy would have quite such a high libido and why he would be allowed into places like brothels, which is featured several times, and why he would be serviced, or maybe they're host clubs, which I don't necessarily dictate sexual activity, but he's definitely got a lot of libido for what appears to be a prepubescent child, and they haven't quite explained that character choice yet, and it seems to be there just for the point of being there for comedic value. And to be honest, it just felt really uncomfortable whenever he waterboards anyone with boobs, including men. I also kind of have a mixed feeling about Alibaba, because he is awesome at points, and a lot of the points he's really whiny, and he does do a lot of really great character progression. In the second season he's a lot more badass, and when he is badass he's so cool, but there is a lot of whining in the interim. I think my favourite character is either Sinbad, who is a badass, and I can't wait to see how badass he gets towards the end of the second season, because he's so cool and can't seem to put foot wrong, but is so cool. And I really like Morgiana, who, given the point of her character is from a sort of domestic violence background, I really like how powerful she is, how in control of herself she is, the fact that she's embraced her past and is able to move forward with it. I also like the fact that she's very monosyllabic. She doesn't really do a lot of over-feminizing. She's very straight to the point, very blunt, and she's physically one of the strongest characters, at least of the group, and I really like that. She's the one picking up the boys and rescuing them, and it's not in your face, I'm going to, you know, because I'm a girl, I'm going to kick ass. It's not that. It's, I am a human being and I have the right to be a human being, and I will continue to do what my skill set allows. And I really love that she's embraced her heritage but has moved away from it. And I love her character, and I really want to see how her character progresses. I really like the art style. It's like a lot of more modern animes. It's very bright, it's got a lot of sparkly stuff. Sparkly butterflies is slightly being ruined for me by the Cowboy Bebop film, where it means that you're infected with creepy disease, but in this case they're pretty and I enjoy seeing them. I really like the magical aspects of it. The magical system, as I started with the second season where they went into a lot of the just genuine magic stuff and away from the djinn stuff, it slightly confused me when I went back to the first season, and then it was all about the djinn and all about this genie magic. But I like how it progresses, and there's enough depth and enough multi-layer of information that they can keep adding to it without backtracking or without being hypocritical of their own system. It's a huge complex system, and so I like how it develops, and I like learning along with Aladdin, that's the right pronunciation, I think. So I like this anime. I'm definitely going to see how it progresses. I think when characters get really badass, they're super badass. I like the fact that there's a lot of game aspects to this, particularly the fact that a lot of the events are set in dungeons. And there's even one dungeon, I think it's the second dungeon in season 1, where the boss is saying, oh no, you guys are way overpowered for this dungeon, I need to up a few ranks. And it felt almost like the characters had stumbled into a child's dungeon by mistake, because it's all these cutesy, slightly creepy animals who are really, really underpowered, and then he kind of has to amp them up to actually make the boss battle worth it. So I really enjoyed that aspect. It wasn't too in your face, but it was enough to enjoy it and be like, oh, this is a reference. So yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. I like how the Aladdin mythology was worked in, how it's got genies and it's got flying carpets, and I absolutely adore the multiculturalism of this, where it's maybe not ethnically diverse, because there's about maybe 1 or 2 ethnically diverse characters, and they're mostly minor, but the actual culture is so diverse, how it's got classic sort of medieval stuff in the witch town, which I'm not going to try to pronounce. Lem or Lim is kind of Greek and Roman, and then of course there's all these Arabic themes that come in with all of the Aladdin cross-culture stuff. So I love it so much. There's pretty much every single traditional classic culture represented, and every time they pop up I'm like, ooh, I wonder what feature they're going to throw into this. So I really like this. I know that there's absolutely no chance of me being featured, hence why I'm in this room instead of in the corridor with my bookcase. There is a bookcase if you've never seen one of this one before. It's not very organised. I need to tidy it up quite a lot, but there we go. And that's about it. Feel free to comment on anything I've said. I know I rambled on for way too long, and that's about it. I will see you guys next week. Bye guys.